Hey, peace, y'all. What's really good? It's your boy, Sincere 7, coming to you live and direct from the Psychonaut Academy of Detroit, Florida edition. Oh man, I'm feeling good. Just prepping my tea. Add a little cinnamon and ginger, make it do what it do. I'm feeling good today, y'all. I got a subject for us to build about. I'm interested in this one. I would love to hear you all's inputs, how y'all feel about it, your opinions about it, you know. Um, I had this conversation with a couple of young ladies, some of the beloveds, the other day, and I really enjoyed the different aspects of how they felt about it. And I'm like, damn, is this something that we see differently based off of male-female relationships, or is it something that we see differently based off how we was raised, or is it something that we see differently based off of how we was conditioned, Because so for me, a child needs to stay in a child's place. This was something for me that um, it became. I wasn't with it. Let's just put it let's keep it real 100. Let's keep it real simple. As a youth, as a child, at a young age, I remember looking at adults and thinking to myself, why are they operating like this? Why are they doing this? Why are they expressing this? I knew at a certain point, like as a child, I'm going, yo, this adult is out of pocket. This grown person. And it would be like confusing to me, like when adults become adults, do they just not care no more? And so for me, knowing that I thought like that at a young age, this whole idea of, oh, a child needs to stay in a child's place. I think that is, personally, my thought is that is a very ignorant statement. No offense to nobody out there. I want y'all to think how you think, feel how you feel, and express that. Like I said before, this is why I like doing videos where there is nobody else on the other side of this thought process that I'm talking to, because some of the things that I say can be taken as disrespectful or offensive or whatever. So if it was somebody else sitting here and I'm going, oh, you said a child needs to stay in child play, that's stupid. I don't want to say that to a person, but that's how I feel. This is me being 100% authentic and honest in my opinion. I think that is one of the most ignorant statements that we as a people can hold on to. A child needs to stay in a child's place. So the first question I was asked to an individual, and let me ask before we even get started, how do y'all feel? To the individuals who are linked in, who are locked in, who are watching, do you all agree or disagree with that statement? Do you think that statement is correct? A child needs to stay in a child's place. Do you think that if you feel like that's a correct statement, type 1. Put in 1 in the comments. If you feel like that's not a correct statement, put a 0 in the comments. A child needs to stay in a child's place. 1, you agree, and you will speak those words. 0, you don't agree. Let's, go ahead and get a little before we even get started, right? So, Kush and Koffee, if you got them. Smoke them if you got them, y'all. You know how we do, right? All right. So, matter of fact, let me go ahead and throw it across for those of y'all who are offended by my cannabis smoking. For those who are offended by sacred plant medicines, you throw that warning on there so you can go ahead and hop back off of this video if this thing offends you, instead of hitting me in my inbox talking about it's unprofessional and more people would listen if I didn't. I'm not looking for those people. So, a child needs to stay in a child's place. My first question to that statement would be, when is a child's place over with? If y'all understand what I'm saying, like, if we'll say a child needs to stay in a child's place, my question, first of all, is when does that end? Because for me, the reason why I say that statement doesn't make sense to me is, for me, in my household, we start teaching and training our youth from the time they come out the womb on how to be all wise and civilized. Because this is what we're supposed to be shooting for. And I feel like if I'm telling you, go somewhere and stay in a child's place, you will never get to functioning correctly as an adult. Imagine that. 16 years old, girl, go in the room, all in our business, stay in the child's place. 17 years old. Now, let's be clear. If you done told your child from the time of being young up into 13, 14, 15 years old, yo, you need to stay in the child's place, stay out of our business, stay out of conversations. By the time they 15 or 16 years old, they already are, oh, let me go ahead, here they go, let me get the fuck on. So while y'all doing y'all thing, y'all talking, y'all building, doing whatever it is that you're doing, this child has already been hypnotized to ignore you, to not listen, to not pay attention. 2 years later, this child is 18 years old. They move out the home, and they're supposed to be conducting themselves as an adult. And they call you, and they just did some dumb shit. And you want some, like, damn, you an adult now. Why would you do that? Like, what is wrong with you? I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, what's wrong with them is they never had the proper teachings and trainings on how to be an adult. How can they when you're telling them that their place is as a child? Think about that. So when is it no longer their place to operate as children? For me, so let's jump into it. I had somebody say, so I know what some of y'all are probably thinking, because this is what people say to me when we having this discussion. And please, I would like you all to comment as much as possible. This is us. Now, if you want to come on to the show, I can send you an invite. Tell me, send you an invite. I'll invite you. You can get on and we can discuss this. Because I really, really, really am passionate about this. And I'm really, really, really open to talking, to debating, to going back and forth, all of that. So I don't want to have the mic and you all can only put a comment up. So if you feel like in your mind a child needs to stay in a child's place, is something that you're passionate about, and you can show and prove that that will be the best of us as a culture, as a people, as a village, I invite you to come on and to debate with me. Hopefully you know me. Don't jump on this platform and try to debate with me if you don't know me. I'm going to tell you that right now. And if you do, just know you're entering at your own risk. Okay? I don't need no sensitive people on here. I need you to be able to hold your weight and not feel like, oh, you trying to do this? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. We're discussing something, okay? So I just want to put that out there. Anybody wants to come on, let me know. I'll send you an invite. Okay. Now, carrying on. I've had individuals say to me, well, I can understand that sometimes, but if I'm with my people and we smoking and we drinking and we talking, I don't want my children around to hear the shit. And my response to that is this. This is my response to that. If I am somewhere drinking, smoking, and having conversations in my home that I feel like my child should not be hearing, that I feel like I'm operating outside of my integrity. I tried to put that as to cover as much avenue as I could. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying by that. So what I'm saying is this right here. If there are 5 brothers come over to the pad and we kicking it, right? That pad tea is ignorant, man. I try to tell y'all. If I got 5 brothers, we over the crib, they over the pad, we kicking it, we talking. Let's just say we start talking about women. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you see shorty, what was, blase split, right? If my son's walking through the 13, 14, 15-year-old, even 7, 8. Now, let's be clear. Some 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds are not interested. They want to go and play their iPad. They want to go play the video. I'm talking about when we have these situations where one of the youth is coming and sitting in our faces, as people call it. And you have an adult who will tell them, yo, what is you sitting on our face for? Go on upstairs to the rest of the children. Stay in the child's place. Me personally, I'm like, whoa. Let little man come sit next to me. Fuck that. Nah. Why? Okay, so my point, going back to the fellas is all kicking it. If I tell my little dude, hey, you need to get up out of here because you don't need to be hearing what we saying right now. We saying the wrong shit. There has not been, and brothers know, when you come to the pad and you come over and we kicking it, I'll tell my youth, come say, hey man, come hear this shit. You gotta hear this shit. There's nothing that's being said that is out of pocket to where my son's not supposed to hear it. And if it is, what does that say about me and my peoples? Well, I don't want you to hear us talking about these bitches. Whoa, why are we talking about these bitches? Right? We don't sit around and discuss in a foul way, talk about using bitches and, oh man, I just had to get the pussy and what I had hit one time and you know how that be. Like, none of that type of shit is coming out of our mouths. I feel like if you have to force your child out of the room while you discuss shit, there's probably things being discussed that shouldn't be discussed. Parents want respect from the children, but don't give it. Woo, Facebook user. It don't say your name. It just say Facebook user. Let me tell you, that's one of my biggest things. That's one of my pet peeves. What about this right here? You say, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I tell you, when I am around individuals and I hear them tell them children that, that's a red flag for me. Listen, if you are one of those people, don't come for me. I'm telling you how I feel. I'm at somebody's house and they children, they ask them yes, and they be like, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. What I tell you, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. That shit is a red flag for me. Every time. Unless they refer to their children the same exact way. Let me tell y'all, a lot of how we raise children, if we don't pay attention. Oh, Maria, okay, indeed, peace, Maria. If we pay attention, we'll realize that the majority of black people who raise children raise them from a slavery mentality. The way we raise children in the black community, the majority of it comes from a slave mentality. I say it again. The things we say, how we speak to our children, how we expect them to speak back to us. Like, think about even saying, stay in a child's place. What the fuck is a child's place if it's not behind the parent learning the ways of the tribe? See, we've gotten away from initiations and rites of passages. If you're going to tell me stay in a child's place, you have one for them. And it's called a rites of passage. If you ain't got no rites of passages and you ain't got no initiations, then what the hell is a child's place other than right next to you to learn how you conduct yourself? So you telling me that if it's 2 a.m, your son or your daughter can be in our faces while we doing what we doing? Well, probably not. Because it's the time. It's like, why you still up? Why you ain't sleep? I couldn't sleep. Oh, all right. Well, come sit down. Yes. But do I expect it? Nah. But again, let me reiterate. Why are we having discussions in a manner that we find to be disrespectful, whether around our children or not? See, I've heard so many stories about people having to get through traumas and dramas that took place because their parents didn't know that they was watching. Because their parents thought that they were asleep. Because their parents didn't know it was a creak or a crack in the floor or the wall that allowed them to look through and see this. Because the parents, right? So that's what I'm saying is, like, for me, that's part of what being sincere is. When I'm so sincere that the things that I say and do, children can witness them. Now let's be real clear. If we're heading into the other level of things, then that's what that is. But until that is taking place, everything before that is okay. I don't have to speak raunchy or disrespectful to show interest or to flirt with the woman or to kick it back and forth. I know how to be, you know what I'm saying, real careful and cautious with the way that I present myself. So I'm never feeling like the way that I'm presenting myself is something that if my youth seeing this, that I need to be cautious that they don't hear this. That's what I'm saying about this. And let's be clear. I think that if we took this mindset out of staying in a child's place, we would have a clear understanding that what we're calling an adult's place is something that we shouldn't even be exercising in ourselves. Is that what we're saying? You're a child and you don't need to hear the things that I say as an adult because as an adult, I speak reckless. I'm disrespectful. I'm vulgar. I'm okay. Now, that's one aspect of it. All that shit I just said is one aspect. I was having this exact same conversation with some queens near and dear to my heart, and I enjoyed it too because they wasn't scared at the go back and forth shit, and that's what I love. I hate people that get like, oh, you don't know how to present yourself, so now you gonna attack my passion or whatever. Like they didn't care how hype I got. They was with me and right back and forth with me, and I love that. Right, strong sisters. Like shout out to them. Salute to the beloveds. Right. So we was having this conversation, and one of the young ladies was like, well, look, I mean, I'm going to tell you, I feel like children need to stay in a certain place because listen to this conversation that this little girl brought to school. You know, she was telling all the children she not male or female. She a lesbian. And even though she didn't understand exactly what she was saying, she kept reiterating it and asked other people. And so asked the teacher, the young lady who I was talking to, if she was a lesbian. And she was like, look, what we not finna do is we not finna have this conversation. And she said in the conversation, I made sure I didn't shame her for the conversation or going into or opening it up, but I shut it down. Like, we're not going to conversate. This isn't the time or place for that, you know? And so she was saying that she feels like this is why we need to be cautious as adults about allowing the children to be around and part of conversations, right? My thing was this. I had 2 points. One, if this child lives in a household with 2 lesbians, they need to be having these conversations around her. They need to be speaking on what is the norm and what we do. This is what you'll hear. This is what you'll see. This is what mommy and mommy are, right? So that she'll have an understanding of what's going on as opposed to thinking this is a whole identity. Because keep in mind how she took this conversation to school. That's the first part. The second part was I asked the queen, I said, let me ask you again, where did this conversation take place at? She said, at school. I said, exactly, which is where most of these conversations take place at. So let me tell you what I have. I have children that will go to school, and when they hear conversations brought up and children insinuating things and children trying to entice other children with things that they don't know about, my children are very prepared for these conversations. My children will never have somebody say, yo, you want to skip class and go to my house and smoke some weed and whatever else? Because they'll be like, no, because I need to be at all my classes, because if the teacher calls and says that I wasn't in class, my parents is going to investigate. Furthermore, I can just go to school, and then when I'm done, I can go home and do those things. My children don't have limitations in the things that they can ask, request, and in life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm going to educate you properly, and I can't educate you properly if I'm actually dismissing you from every time one of these conversations come up. So if you was to ask me, are you saying that when these kind of conversations come up, your children can be around? Yes. Not only can they be around, but sometimes we'll be building with people and having conversations, and my children sometimes will excuse themselves. And after everybody leaves, we'll call them out and we'll have asked them how they feel about it. I know you heard what y'all think about that. How do you see that? What's your thought process on that? Do you understand what that is? We have to keep in mind we are preparing children for adulthood, not sheltering them from it. You understand? And a lot of times children end up in the midst of things, trying things and doing things because they just want to know what the hell was going on or what somebody was talking about. So here we go where we have these predators, because if y'all don't understand that there's children predators too, then y'all really need to be having some conversation with your children. Everybody really think that all the predators is adults, and it's not. There are children who are predators because of the things that they have went through. Understand? And that's the way that they catch them up, introducing them to things that they don't know about, that they are intrigued about, that they are catching their interest in. My children know, I don't care what it is. If you heard it and you can verbalize it, we can talk about it, period, point blank. And I encourage them to have conversations with me or their mother before anybody else. Don't tell nobody you don't know about that. Come talk to us about it. So now my children have a very wide array of things that they know about because we don't hide them from it. Remember, rites of passages, y'all. This is where children go through, not even just children. This is where people, little boys, little girls, grown men, grown women, go through trials and tribulations to see if they're prepared to be initiated. A lot of times trials and tribulations is the conversations. Understand that. We're supposed to be, as soon as a child it becomes aware of these words, aware of these conversations, they are right at that moment old enough to have these conversations. If you feel differently, that's on you. You raise them how you want to raise them. I'm not teaching. This is urban philosophy. This is us talking with one another, and for the love of talking about conversations that we should be paying attention to. Do you think your child not going to learn about sex until they 15, 16 years old? Oh my God, I hope you don't think that. And if you're telling me that your child's 14 years old and you have not yet had a conversation about sex with them, I invite you to, I invite you to be comfortable with another way of looking at it. Because there's somebody at school that's introducing your children to sex, to sexual acts, sexual body parts, whatever. Like, what the fuck, y'all? Like, trust me, elementary school. Yes, these conversations are going on in elementary school. Why? Because the children are overhearing things, overseeing things, sneaking and hearing, sneaking and looking, waking up and coming out and looking in through the keyholes, in through this, in through that, listening to conversations. See? So I feel like as a people, we should be our children's first teachers. We keep looking to other, that's what I mean when I keep saying we need to have more accountability. This is where you get people talking about, oh, it's the music's fault that my children are fucked up. It's the music's fault that my children are out here doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, blase split, yada, yada, yada. No, it's not. It's our fault for allowing them to be educated by sources outside of us. You keep talking about staying in the child place, whole time next to the child's place got more adult features and conversations than your place got. All right, I'll go over here with my friend, the child, and we over here smoking weed. He done gave me my first pistol. It's a 25 caliber, and we plotting on these little girls across town how to get over there. We gonna catch the bus or shit. We actually, you get what I'm saying? Think about when you was a youth. How old were you being exposed to things? How did you find out about them? Shit, I investigated. I started having those conversations with other youth. You understand what I'm saying? Why? Because my parents made me feel like I better not bring that up. Covering my eyes when that part of the movie come on. If you don't, I got a treehouse right now with 13 Playboy bunnies in it. Playboy magazines. And let's go one step further. Now, the majority of our youth has cell phones, which means they have the internet, which means they have access to everything you have access to. I can go on my tablet, phone, or whatever, type in Pornhub right now and watch any amount of anything that, you know what I'm saying, y'all know, right? So why is it that we feel like we need to allow them to be in a place as if they place is filled with, you know what I'm saying, immature things? Their places are filled with questions and wonder. And I think it's best. What's up, my baby? All right. I think it's best that we be the ones to give it to them. We be the ones to educate them properly. You better figure out what's in them child's places y'all be sending them to, because it's not childlike things. You better stay in a child's place. Nah, I don't even be wanting my children in child's places. Nah, I don't know. I know what type of shit is in child's places. Nah, come around here with us, with the respectable, responsible adults. You know what I'm saying? Get your questions answered. I know, like, hey, people say that shit sound crazy. And I'm like, yeah, but I have adult children now. And I can say that I am proud that when I ask certain questions to my children, I get no's. Straight up. Nope, never, nope, never, nope, never, nope, never. Because they didn't ever have anybody who could get anything over on them, because they already knew they can ask these questions. They can, you know, my son was smoking weed at home. He didn't have to go sneak somewhere. Like when he made it known that he wanted to smoke some weed, I'm like, shit, nigga, I got the best weed on this side of, you know what I'm saying, in Michigan, period. So, okay, you want to start smoking weed? Here you go. And I let it be that. His friends would come over and they would smoke weed. This was, I think, 13 years old. I was like, whatever. Now I'd ask them, your parents know you smoke weed? Your parents know? All right, well, you need to tell them. What? Well, I mean, just saying, like, you know, you need to have that ability to be honest with your parents. Like, if they say stop, then stop. You know what I'm saying? I never told mine. You know, then, shit, a year or two later, I was walking through the house and I had a blunt and I went to pass it to him. He was like, no, I'm good. I'm like, you good? He's like, I don't smoke no more, man. That shit, it be having me where I can't really concentrate like I, you know, and, you know, I operate it. Okay. You got to give them the ability to make adult decisions. Now he know at certain points in times where, okay, yeah, I'll smoke. Like, hell yeah. Right now, this what's going on this way, that way, in my mental, what I'm doing, my finances, all that, yeah, right now. Or sometimes he don't. Sometimes he like, no, I'm straight. I'm good. And it'd be amazing to me. I'm like, damn, this cool as hell. You know what I'm saying? My daughter, she smoked and she do not like it. She's like, oh my goodness, no, I don't need to be doing that, right? But they didn't have to find themselves in, you know, situations that were challenging or dangerous or any of that. Anything that they ever wanted to do, they was allowed to talk about, and we would talk real deep. And at the end of that discussion, if they felt like that's still something they want to do, that's their decision. I've never made my children do anything, and I've never demanded that they not do anything. If my child told me they want to smoke some crack, we about to have a real deep conversation. We're going to drive around. I'm going to introduce you to a few people. I'm going to tell you their history. I'm going to go through all of that. And at the end of that, if they still say, that's cool and all, but, man, I still feel like I want to, that's on you, player. Just know that, you know, there will be a change from this point forward that you are responsible for. And I know y'all like, man, shut up. You ain't serious. What? What you think I'm about to do? Fight with them? If they literally make that decision, it's some reason. I don't know what it is, but that's on them. And we have to prepare our children. Too many of us own our children. I don't own my children. I do not own my children. My children will tell you that. My children say what they want. They do what they want. They express themselves the way they want. There's nothing that I've ever said to my children that they can't say. I remember telling my daughter, man, shut the fuck up one day. She told me, because I told her that, but it wasn't that day. But I said something to her. She was like, man, shut the fuck up. And I was like, what? She was like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, you shut the fuck up. And then I turned around and walked off. And that was the first time she ever cussed directly at me. But what I was saying at that time, had the shoe been on the other foot, I probably said, man, shut the fuck up. And like, that's how she felt. And that's what she said. And I wore that shit. Like, why I can speak to them in a demeaning way, but they can't speak to me back? No, man. That's like anybody else on the planet. If I'm gonna tell you to shut the fuck up, you tell me to shut the fuck up. Fuck I look like. And why would I put my child in a place where I'm saying no, because you are this, that, and the other, you're gonna take this shit. I don't have no respect for that mentality. I don't own my children. I prepare my children to be adults. They are younger versions of me. So I give them what I didn't have. I did not have the freedom of expression. I did not have the freedom of anything. It was do what I say, when I say, how I say, whenever I say. I don't even tell my kids to clean the kitchen. I ask my son, yo, God, you'll clean the kitchen? He'd be like, all right. You know what I'm saying? And if he told me no, all right, I'm going to go to the next child. Hey, Pat, you'll clean the kitchen? And let me just tell you, if I go all the way down the line and all of them is on some no shit, I'm either going to go and clean the kitchen or I'm going to tell them why the hell I'm not finna clean the kitchen and what's not going to happen from that point forward. So it's like for me, it would be y'all really the ones who made all of this mess. Every dish in here is something that you ate on. So I tell you what, you ain't got to clean no dishes. I'm not going to clean them though. And I'll tell you this, ain't nobody in this house going to eat no more food that I done bought until them dishes are clean. Now, my oldest, they will hear that shit and immediately will Uber Eats or DoorDash them some food just to be like, and I can't do a damn thing about it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that to me is a relationship worth having. My children know that I can't think of anything that I've ever demanded or told them you will not, or you, if that's what you want to do. If it, like they really run their own lives, and that's what we're supposed to be preparing them for. I don't know what a child's place is because I've never sent my children to them. You know what I'm saying? But it sounds dangerous because if ain't no adults in the child's place, then that means that there's a lot of things that can happen in that place that we don't have knowledge of, we don't have control over, and we don't have no source of I said it, control over. Yeah. You know, so yeah, I don't send my kids to no child's place. Hell no, that shit sounds dangerous. That shit sounds dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me. I'll talk back. Talk a little shit. I talk that. What y'all think about this? Am I wrong? Ain't that some doesn't that sound like most adults are just children in big box? Peace, Maria. Peace. That's some real shit you just said. And I agree. I'm an 11-year-old little boy in a 44-year-old man body. I tell my son all the time, I want to be like you when I grow up. I look up to my son as if he's my big brother. I've educated, taught, and prepared my children to the point that I look up to my son. I look at my daughter like, hell yeah. I look at my children like, hell yeah. Not, oh, you about to do something stupid. You need to listen to what I say. They don't need no advice from me. My son does Forex and cryptos. He's 16, 17. This nigga buys his own everything. Everything. I'm like, where you going? About to hop on an Uber and go and this and this and that, taking my girl. We going out of town to do blase splee. Got the B&B out here and we did what? What? Enjoy yourself. Damn, this nigga's the boss more than I am. You feel me? He's prepared. The boy's been damn near taking care of himself since he was about 14 years old. Legit, literally. I'm talking about all the way around. He's Uber DoorDashing himself food, getting himself Ubers to go across town with his girlfriend, 14, 15 years old. I don't know where his money come from, but I know I be seeing him on that computer hitting them damn, I be seeing them little ooh-wops, and I'm like, that boy on that shit. Why? Because there's no such thing as a child's place. When he was a little dude, he used to be with me and the guys. We used to be up in the pad and we building about finances and cryptos and Forex and this and that, paying page for classes, discussing what our next venture is. And I got him sitting next to me. He walking past, he listening. Yo, son, you gotta hear this shit. Come here, look. And when the conversation switched to fire up the weed or what about that shorty you kicking with, we didn't tell him to go nowhere. That's why my son is very advanced. I asked what you think about polygyny. Yeah, I mean, it's cool and all that, but I'm monogamous, my dude. Okay. So, like, polygyny, nah, I'm good, you know. Then I had asked him, like, a little time ago, what's going on? We got to go and pick up my other little short. Wait, what? You and your girl pick it? You polygynous now? Yeah, you know, I felt like, you know, I had a discussion and, you know, he's maneuvering better through his shit than I am, y'all. I'm like, yo, will you give me and old girl some counseling? Fuck you mean? No, man. Shout out to my baby mama, man. She cool, man. Everything is everything. But even in the terms of all, I'm glad I said that. Even in the terms of when me and her was going through that separation, this wasn't this adult's business. No. So this was going on, son. You know, yeah, this is what happened. You know, she felt like this, I felt like this. You know, this was said in the heat of, and you know, so this is how we handle it. This is where we going. This is why wouldn't I? My son has relationships with women. He needs to see how a man deals with things, how a man handles things. Fuck the shit you hear and see on TV because it's bullshit. Nah, man, this is how, as an adult, you need to conduct yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't force nobody to be with you. You can't disrespect the individual for their choices. You can't, you know what I'm saying, overpower individuals with what you want and how you feel. We have to come amongst and deal with this respectfully, understand, because we have children, and if you smear one, you smear the home, right? Right? This is bad for business. This is bad for everybody. This is bad for you, right? You have to have them at a young age seeing. Now, I'll say a lot of people have a hard time giving this to their children because they don't exercise these values. This is why individuals be like, no, go in a child's place, because I don't want you to see me doing all of this ignorance. I don't want you to see me handling this with violence and stupidity. I don't want you to see me flattening tires and breaking windows and having so-and-so come over and try to jump so-and-so. I don't want you to see, you know what I'm saying, me whooping your mama ass, choking her out. I don't want you to see me in here with this woman that isn't supposed to be over here, right? All of these different things, and we're trying to hide and shield our dirty practices from our children. It ain't got nothing to do with being an adult staying in a child's place. It's stay out of the place of being a witness to my indiscretions. I'm an upstanding community, you know what I'm saying, member. I don't need to hide anything that I do from any of my peoples, my children, or anything, because I'm not doing nothing out of pocket. Not concerned with who you see me on sitting on the couch with her feet up on my lap while I'm massaging her feet. I'm not telling you to go in the room because you don't need to see this. Right? And if we walk like, see, that's the thing, is like we have lost the understanding as a people that everything that we doing is being recorded. Everything that we doing is being recorded, period. And those recordings are accessible to any individual who knows how to go and look at those recordings. So with that being said, I don't need to hide nothing from my children. Like, I don't need to hide nothing from the ancestral. Like, I don't need to hide nothing from the celestial. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if you're religious or spiritual or one or both, but either way, there's a certain understanding that everything that we do is recorded. So with that being said, like, yo, my children, the oldest two, they have the understanding on how to read these recordings. My best friend has a journal, and she writes in her journal every single thing that she goes through. They're all recorded in her journal from the time she was young. She allows her children to read her journal. And when I say it's all in there, it's all in there. And she allows them to read it. So, whose children would we think is more prepared for adulthood? Who's better to educate your children on who they are than the actual author of who they are? Your children are half of you and half of the mate that you found at that point of growth and development in your time that was needed for your walks. Boom. And y'all came together and created that child. So understand that from that time and before, any and everything dealing with that is what you need to be expressing and explaining to them. Everything after is for you, and if they go through that in the growth and development. Like my oldest daughter, she's not enthralled into the spiritual works or the alternative healing or any of these things. She is more expressive of who I was at the time of her being created and before. And I can see the aspects of me before having her all through her. The things that I learned and the trials and tribulations and the initiations and all of these things that I went through after her are not a part of her. This is my life as it continued on. But everything that I was up until the point of conceiving her, that's all a part of her. And we have to remember that. We like to look at our children as if, like, that's not how I raised you. Yeah, that's cool, but that's called nurturing. Nature usually supersedes that. Nature is stronger than nurture, right? And that depends. But what I mean by that is naturally your child is who you were when you created them. All of the things that you taught them afterward, yeah, that's cool and all, but this is how I feel. And you know that is real because it's who you were. So when I see her express herself in certain ways through her dress, through her conversations, and now through her poetry, I'm seeing myself at that age of conceiving her. And I can't do nothing but give her that freedom to live that out and go through her growth and development in the future as she sees fit. It's not going to be the same as what I've been doing since she was born going on. They might interest her, they might not. But we as parents need to keep these things in mind because we try to think of how we think now instead of who we were, and we're missing all of the important things that we need to lay down to these youth. So I know when I'm talking to my oldest daughter about certain things, I like to go into the history of when I was pre her and give her my stories, what I did, how I responded, how I acted, all of that, because these are the most powerful parts of her. Period. Can't deny that. Same with her mother. Who cares who you are now? Who you were, that could have a lot to do with who she is now. And we got to keep those things in mind. So instead of avoiding these conversations, we're supposed to be welcoming them so that they can learn and know and understand. Because when I have these conversations, it'd be like, okay, that's why I be feeling like that. They can put these things together. They can understand. They'll be like, because I see you now, and you know, you'll say this, that, and the other. And I'll be like, oh, no, that wasn't how I was, though. I used to da and blase, split, and yacht. And they'd be like, ah. But what we're doing is we're giving them the BC and the AD so that before they even go through these situations, they can see the balance in how to approach them and how to go through them. And they have history of the things that you did, and they have the knowledge of who you are now. And that shit creates respect. All of that creates respect. They might not agree with us, but they are always going to respect us for sharing these things with them. And they know they're true because it's part of them. And this is how a lot of y'all can get rid of the separation. There's a problem with the parents in our communities not being connected with their children. Point blank period. We can debate all you want. We can debate all you want. The children are telling me this. So you understand what I'm saying? The children are telling me this. And I'll tell you this, I didn't have connection with my parents, period, point blank. Never was allowed to gain an actual connection with our parents. That shit was lost through slavery. Understand? So now we have the ability to bring back these mutual respects, love, and bonds. Look at people who have bonding relationships with their parents and their grandparents. Usually, that also is a place where you can see where they can actually communicate with each other effectively and openly. That's where bond. That's like otherwise you just got respect. Like there's a lot of people who respect their parents. Let's be clear. I respect my parents. Yes, you do. But do you have a bond with them? Type 1 if you have a bond with both of your parents, and type 0 if you do not have a bond with both of your parents. You know what I'm saying? Do you have a bond with your parents? Right? So I'm saying all that to say, like, sometimes we look over certain things and look through them, and we're answering questions based out of ego instead of actually stopping and thinking, like, could that possibly be true? Okay, we got a 0. Mine's definitely a 0. I don't have a bond with either one of my parents, let alone one. And it's very rare that you hear that people have a bond with both of their parents. That's something that the mothers of my children and me, we've always discussed. No matter what happens, we need to keep the bonds with our children open. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we've always had mutual respects for one another, because it's like, you don't want to be setting that whole I gotta pick sides, or I'm in the middle of, you know what I'm saying? That's why I always hate beefing with, you know what I'm saying, the mother of my children. Like, nah, let's not do that. You know what I'm saying? Because somewhere the children's not gonna feel safe about expressing themselves about something to one of us. And that's where it'd be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? No, I want to always keep the bond with my children open. And with that, we have to give freedom of expression. We have to give them the freedom to really be honest with us without judgment and without shame. Because that's something that we operate with in our community way too much, is shame. We shame each other. We shame our children. We shame our mates. We like shame that, again, part of that slave mentality. You know what I'm saying? And shame is just so present in our community, especially between children. Like, again, I can ask the question, type 1, as adults, if you're listening to this, if your parents have shamed you or have tried to control you through shame. Mine is a 1. You know what I'm saying? Both of them. And if I didn't bow down to the shame or to what they was putting on me, then one of them was, aggressive about the shit, and the other one was abandoning. I was shamed for not being a Christian. My mother said, "Oh, you want to be of the world?" Because I tried to call my father at 11 years old. And so she sent me off and was like, "Yo, there's no need for us to talk." They did not want to talk to me. It didn't talk to me for almost 30 years. Shamed by my mother, right? My father has shamed me on multiple occasions for loving other people, like my little sisters. Man, fuck them. Fuck them little bit. They love their mama. They believe her. And they against me. So you with me. Fuck them. Like, what? These my sisters. What the fuck is you talking about? Oh, you taking their side? Yeah. Are y'all hearing me? I can't even love my little sisters because they love their mama. You know what I'm saying? What type of black exploitation shit is that in our community? You know what I'm saying? Like, so the idea of shaming our children, I had to get away from that. I don't shame my children. You know what I'm saying? For anything. They are who they are, and how am I going to shame them when they are half me, right? All of this is me, or somebody that I at one point in time loved and claimed to trust, because that's the only way that you usually get into that situation. Those children was brought forth in another way, and we already know how, different circumstances. But 90% of the time. This is something we both agreed to, you know what I'm saying, take part in, right? We took part in the magic, and here we go. This is what we manifested, right? And this is supposed to be supported, right? And continuing on. This is how you continue on your life. We're supposed to support our children, you know what I'm saying, and prepare them. You know, children are not a place that's meant to be kept in until 18 years old, because then they get out and they don't know how to balance a checkbook. They don't know the science of bringing in income so that you can pay bills and for your, you know, like all of this. Like I'll have my children, I'll show them how much I got in the bank, and this is for this, and this is for that, and this is for this. So this is how much we got left for this and that. So when we go to the store and y'all talking about, can we get, and you're like, shit, at certain points in time, they be like, shit, nah, we straight, we'll get it next time. Thank you. You feel me? And then at some point in time, they be like, shit, can we get, nah, because we seen, so if things is good, this ain't hurting you. Can we, yeah, go ahead, get it. You know what I'm saying? And like, this needs to be understood so that they have that balance and understanding that there's going to be an ebb and flow to your finances. There's going to be an ebb and flow to your relationships. There's going to be an ebb and flow, you know, to your friendships, and how to respond to these things accordingly. Because a lot of us, we don't operate correctly as adults because we never was taught. We never learned it. That's why some of the people that we know now, when we see how they respond to certain things, we be like, are they serious? Yes, they serious. They stayed in a child's place. And there's a lot of adults right now that are still staying in a child's place. Because they've never been shown the adult's place. You know? So yeah, man, I just wanted to come on and kick it a minute, man. You know, interesting conversation, urban philosophy, right? We had 52 minutes in, so this looks like an hour. Any questions, comments, concerns? Talk to me. I talk back. Talk a little shit because I talk that. Um, you know, usually I go a little bit deeper and drop some other things and step into some other realms and all of that. But truth be told, y'all, um, getting ready to go into uh, some practices and change a whole lot. And so I invite you all to walk with me for the next 90 days. Watch this progression, taking some people through the Intentions and Manifestation Alchemy of Self Magic course. So all of the groups, all of the people in the groups, they've got their magic books, they got their workbooks, and so we're about to dive in. So for the next 90 days, it's going to be some real focused intentions and manifesting going on, and it will be very interesting. Trust me when I tell you, every time that I step into this, um, I'm amazed, and I have the books as proof of everything as it manifests. And that's what I love about this course, is that people walk away with proof. It's like, yeah, nah, we ain't just talking this shit. You have proof. You really recorded every day. And so I'm excited, and I'm also focused. And so that's kind of what I'm saying is like, I came in and presented what I wanted to present, and everything else I'm kind of saving my energy up for what's to come. But I definitely would invite you all to stay tuned and stay in tune. These next 90 days is going to be magical, and I'm sure I'll sprinkle some of that magic, you know, over these internet waves, uh, in a certain manner that it can be translated and manifested within your own realms. If y'all know, y'all know. And if you don't, stay tuned. You'll catch up. It's time to be amazing. I appreciate all of y'all who have been walking with me thus far. Um, it's a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of tests coming at me. And it's like, I understand why, because of what we're about to walk into. Um, and so I'm prepared And I'm going to work, y'all. I'm going to work. And to the opposing forces, uh, I have no advice for you. And that's that, you know. So with that being said, y'all, I love y'all. Ain't nobody posting no questions, comments, or concerns. Just wanted to come in and kick it. If you watch this video at a later time and you know you have some disagreements, you see things differently, feel free. Drop them, Jones. I want to hear about it. If you do agree, if you are understanding some of the aspects of what I'm talking about, what I'm saying, you know. And also I invite y'all to jump on the YouTube. The pad is on YouTube, all the videos. We run it from the StreamYard, so you know, you could just kind of watch them when you want, look at the different subjects that we be building on, and see if it's something that you might want to take to your peoples. You know, that's what we try to create, village conversations. These are the conversations, you know what I'm saying, 55, 55. Look, right at the time on it too, 55, 55. These are the kind of conversations you can take back to your peoples, take back and have conversations with your mate, with your friends, with your family, you know what I'm saying, with your children. Ask them what they think about this. You know what I'm saying? Ask them about, you know, the aspects of how they view us as adults. Are we preparing them properly? Do they feel like that we're giving them the game that they need to go out here and be, you know, all wise and civilized? You understand? Um, I love y'all, and if you need me, y'all know how to contact me. And as always, please find somebody today and tell them you love them in the language that they can understand it in, because they probably need it right now.